Jason, I swear that in the years past, I thought I knew what being busy in October and November meant. But
you know nothing.
I guess, for Rage Select, this is the first time we're covering any the console launches. But couldn't Sony and Microsoft have done us a favor and release these consoles like a month apart from each other? Did they have to release one week from the other? Because goddamn,
it's really thoughtless of them.
Yeah, I know.
Bastards.
Why don't they take my schedule into account is all that I'm saying. Well, welcome everybody to Rage Select. It's the podcast. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jason.
And we're going to talk today a little bit about the Xbox One. But before we do that, I think that this podcast, if my scheduling has not been mistaken, I think this podcast is going to be coming out on Black Friday, Jason.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's some advice to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a fucking animal.
Uh-huh.
Don't.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to expound on that? Or?
I watched like a highlight reel, basically, of a bunch of people like just breaking down the gates, like the barbarian storming Rome in Rise, rushing into Walmart, Target, wherever, and just trampling people and fighting and screaming. Have some dignity, you mongrels. It's stuff. Stop being such a consumer. It's just things that you get a slight discount on. Stop it. It's just disgusting. And I'm like, well, here's one of the many things that's wrong with America.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah. Black Friday. It's
savages.
I remember a time. I'll put my old man pants on here. I remember a time when Black Friday was not this nuts.
Right.
It was just like, hey, we got some discounts, whatever.
Yeah, it's a big shopping day.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it turned into a big shopping day because Thanksgiving was over and everyone was getting ready for Christmas. They wanted to get their shit out of the way early. And then over the years, it's devolved into this consumer Roman orgy of destruction. Like, I don't know about you. Kevin and I talked about this a little while back, but I don't know about you. But I personally get no enjoyment out of buying stuff.
Right.
Like as a consumer, you have people who talk about getting like a high from shopping or getting a good deal or a discount or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah. I like having things. I like stuff.
Yeah.
I love my stuff.
Yeah.
But I realize that it's just that. It's a thing. And as the great sage Tyler Durden said, the things you own end up owning you.
I mean, yeah, it's I think that I've done like a couple of Black Fridays. A long time ago, I waited in line at Best Buy to get a computer because it was like a $400 computer when computers were, $1,500 for a crappy one. But I look at these videos now of the people going into the Walmart, and especially Walmart. Walmart's the weird one, man, where I'm just like, it's just shit from Walmart.
Yeah.
This is not like you're going to the Rolls-Royce boutique or something because they're offering free caviar to the first 200 people in the door or what. I don't even know. Those words don't really actually mean anything, but
I really want to see like all of those videos, a concerted effort from the world's major retailers, or maybe against the world's major retailers since they're complicit in this. I would like to see some of those videos where people rush in, and then the doors are barred and the place is set on fire.
No, I've got a better idea. Hunger Games is in theaters. I think that like they should let people in a few at a time, and then they should divide them up into like, what do you want? Do you want a computer? Do you want a TV or whatever? So they take them over to that section and then make them fucking Hunger Games each other to get that fucking TV.
They practically already are. So
give them a knife and give them an even bigger discount. Be it like, here's a 55-inch TV for $10.
Yes.
If you will murder the other people here in line with you.
Everybody wins. Give us our bread and circus.
I mean, at this point, Black Friday is pretty much as close as we have to the Purge. It's close to the actual Purge. And I don't know, many years ago, I started engaging in the International Buy Nothing Day, essentially, where you just try to stay inside, not buy anything on Black Friday, and just like, fuck yourself, consumerism. So anybody listening to this on Black Friday, goddamn, man, like, don't get bent out of shape. Did I ever tell you about when I worked at Fry's on Black Friday? And the line wrapped all the way around the entire store, like in the inside of the store. like this isn't going to mean much to people who don't know this, but like I worked in the electronics section, and they had their little rat race bank teller line to go up to the front.
Yeah.
And then that went out, and it went all the way to this back wall, and it went all the way to the entire back of the store. You guys, this is like the size of a Best Buy. So imagine like your Best Buy checkout going all the way over to wherever the appliances are, and then all the way to the back of the store, and then all the way along the back of the store, and then all the way back down, and then the line almost reached back to the entrance to the store.
Ugh.
I saw a kid in line that was holding a paper sign that said, "I've been waiting in line for 5 hours." I was just like, there is no amount of money
No.
that you could give me that would make waiting in line for 5 hours good.
Stop making yourself a slave, you damn rodents.
Especially when, fuck, man, Amazon.
Yeah.
Like they'll
Precisely.
they will bring that shit to you, and it's not that much more expensive, and they've got their own deals that you can get.
Yeah, and you don't have to leave the house and deal with all of the rest of these just slavering hordes of bestial mongrels. I just hate them.
I just want to poke you with this consumer stick because I love your
Drives me
descriptions of
crazy.
human beings.
And that's the thing is that I love stuff, but one of our dear friends, I want to say it was last year, maybe the year before, he's all about Black Friday. He's all about deals.
Yeah.
I won't say his name.
I think I know who you're talking
but it
about.
rhymes with Martin. He pissed himself
What?
standing in line.
What?
He ran out to his car when it was done, and he pissed himself.
Ah.
Or maybe I'm fucking up the story. I don't remember exactly.
I don't know if I think I heard that story, and I don't know if that was.
Am I bastardizing it?
I think
That's how I remember it.
I don't know.
And then he gnawed off his hand.
Yeah.
His own hand.
He used. He killed a guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just want to drive around through the front of Best Buy and just be like, you are all Satan's bitches.
But did you see what they're doing this year? Did you see what
they're starting. It's on Thanksgiving.
It's starting on Thanksgiving.
You animals.
You can't even fucking digest your turkey. You got to get out there with a fucking belly full of avian fowl meat and
We don't have to worry about enemies of the state, terrorism, or anything. We're doing it just fine ourselves.
yeah. Now now let me ask you this: if you were making the money that you are now, and you were basically you weren't doing any of this video game stuff for a living. Let's say there was a Black Friday deal where they were giving out like PS4s for like half price. Would you do that? Would you engage?
I might go and assess the crowd.
Uh-huh.
And if it looked too crazy, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'll pay the extra $200.
Yeah. I still got stuff I'm playing on the PS3. It's like all of that time
Yeah.
that you spend dealing with those assholes and standing in line and throwing elbows and all that of that time is time you could spend working
Yeah.
and making money where that discount wouldn't matter.
This is
Where
true.
You could just pay the extra.
This is true. This is very true. I don't know. I think that there's definitely a quality to it that, like I was saying before, of people who get that shopper's high. They finding the deal means something to them. Whereas I don't like to buy pants. I get pissed off when my pants rip and I got to go buy 2 new pairs of jeans at Sears. You know,
It's disgusting. I mean, I know I'm getting off on this like leftist, anti-consumerist, anti-capitalism screed here.
Yeah.
And I'm not really like that guy, but this, after watching that video today, it disgusts me. I mean, look what's going on in the Philippines, and you're gonna fight over 30% off of Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Go to hell.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
look at people in the Sudan. It's like, you suck. We suck. America, stop being assholes.
I don't know. The other thing
Enjoy what you have.
The other thing to me is that a lot of times those sales have become like Steam sales, where I mean, you've seen where I live, right? You've seen my condo.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, where would I put a third television? Even if I got the best deal in the world on a television?
Bedroom.
No, I got a laptop in there. I sleep in there. I don't do anything but sleep in there. That's all I do in there is go to sleep at night. I do all my gameplay in this room, and I have 2 monitors, a laptop, and a television. I've got all the consoles that man could want. I mean, I guess people, if you can get a good deal on a console, but even when I look at those, and it's like if you're getting $50 off an Xbox 360, that's not worth waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning in my world.
Yeah.
At least. Anyway, well, speaking of Xboxes and retail hell, I'm afraid let's talk a little bit about the Xbox One. I don't have as good a story for my Xbox One purchase I did for my Walmart PS4.
You didn't encounter any lazy bastards in Rascals, or ignorant kids behind you jabbering on about things they knew nothing about.
No,
like the spelling of Hungary.
It's okay. So this was when there was a day. This is part of the story. There was a day here at Rage Select. I wish I could make this rhyme like Dr. Seuss because it'd make a great fairy tale. One day I woke up and I was like, oh, I haven't pre-ordered either one of those new consoles, and I keep seeing reports that PlayStation 4 is sold out as fuck. So I went online.
That's actually what it said when you try to click on it on BestBuy.com. Sold out as fuck.
That's right. There were a lot of U's in there.
Yeah.
So I went online, and I actually found a website that was an aggregator that was keeping track of this shit. And it turns out that Walmart was one of the few places that got like a second shipment in, so they could do it. Because first I tried. Oh, you motherfuckers. I don't know if this show has ever heard about my hatred of Fry's.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking hate Fry's.
Fry's has... my friends were griping about Fry's the other day.
Yeah.
And about their resoundingly horrible service. I'm not a fan myself.
I found that the Fry's website had PlayStation 4, and it said you can pick it up in the store the day it's released. Bada bing, bada boom. Put down your pre-order. So put down my pre-order. It charged my credit card, and then I got an email like a week later going, yeah, so actually the date on the website isn't guaranteed, and this is subject to shipping. And it was just like,
I already paid for it.
The motherfuckers ripped me off. Like it says on my receipt that that's the day it was going to be. So I sent back, and they were like, yeah, so you can get a refund here or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, give me a fucking refund. I went over to Walmart and pre-ordered it there. And then like 3 days later, I got an email from them, from one of the customer service people that was like, yeah, that other email that you got, that was wrong. That was an automated thing sent out by our system that happens for all pre-orders to tell everybody that their pre-orders are fucked up for all products or something. But it's not actually fucked up. Do you still want to cancel? And I was like, yes, you failed me. I was like Darth Vader. You failed me for the last time, Fries.
That is the definition of under-promising.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to set your expectations really low.
Yeah.
And then you get a phone call. It's like, we know you ordered a PS4, but when you get it, it's actually going to be a big chunk of charred meat.
Well, and
then when they deliver a PS4 eventually, hey, you're ecstatic that you didn't get burnt meat.
I would have been happy enough if they had said, hey, we can't give you a PS4, but if you come down here on the day that your pre-order says, we will give you a half a cow. I'd be like, $400 for a half a cow. All right, I can put that in the freezer and make tacos for the next year.
Do you get to pick the half?
No, it doesn't really matter.
Okay,
I'll take any half of the cow.
Okay.
You cut it sideways or front to back. I'll take the front. I'll take the back.
Right down the middle.
Rump roast.
Like one like the left side.
Like horizontal or so there's
like from nose to tail.
Like this way?
Yeah.
So just like divide it in half.
Yeah, that way you get a good sampling of everything.
Sure.
Vivisection. Bovine vivisection with Rage Select.
Yeah. You can make some stuff out of tongue and brains and stuff like that.
No.
It's all meat, man. That's what a cow's made of, is beef. He's making
is that where it comes from?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you got a nice cow skull when you're done. And you can put it over the fire. You can put a bolo on it.
Always wanted one of those.
So anyway, after I got my PlayStation 4 sorted out, I just went to Best Buy's website and ordered an Xbox One, and it was like 1 second, and you're done. And then when I got to Best Buy, I gotta tell you guys, like, the shit show that I described at Walmart last week, Best Buy got that shit on lockdown. First of all, Best Buy opened up there were people there to make sure that the only business that was happening here was this launch of the Xbox One. So when I walked in the door at like 11:45, they had the store divided into 3 separate lines. Those lines were people who have pre-orders who need to pay for them, people who have already paid for their pre-orders who, like, when it turns midnight, you just hand them an Xbox and they leave the store, and people in another line that did not have a pre-order that are hoping to get one if they have any left over. So I went to the line, and before you even get in line, you walk up to this guy, and he's got this big piece of paper. He's like, "Do you want this warranty?" And I'm like, "No." "Do you want an extra controller?" I'm like, "Fuck you. Do you want it?" "No, I don't want any of that shit. Just I want the console and Dead Rising. That's all I want." And he marks all this stuff down. He gives it to you, and then you go wait in line. And I got to tell you, it was like 90%, 25 to 40 bearded, overweight white dudes in that store. That was like 90% of the people that were there. So I got in line, and the only stupid thing I heard was this guy who was in line who said, "Oh, I'll never buy a PlayStation." And the guy was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Oh, I used to work for a game company, and their cert process is fucking terrible." And I'm like, "That's a stupid reason not to buy a console. What the fuck do you care?" Some moral high ground motherfucker that is like, "But give me the Call of Duty. I want the Call of Duty." So I was there waiting in line. I don't know. I tried to make some small talk with those people, but everybody was like really focused on, what my shit. I don't talk to people. This is. I did notice though when I got up there, because the day one Xbox Ones, you get like 3 dumb things with them. You get on the controller, it says day one 2013. It's like printed on there. I think it might be somewhere on the box. I haven't looked for it. And then you get an achievement because you bought an Xbox on the day it came out.
A day one achievement. Yay.
Also, all the games, I don't know if you know this, but all of the Dead Rising 3, Forza, and they all say day one 2013 on the front of the box, which I got to say, like, this is the kind of shit that I love about Microsoft, is because this is like achievements. If you take a step back and you look at this shit, it's garbage. Who gives a shit? This controller is going to fail.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to have to get a new Xbox at some point because the drive's going to fuck up or something.
Also that.
The achievement, who gives a fuck about that achievement?
Precisely what I'm thinking.
Yet I'm sure there are some people out there that were really excited to get that stuff.
Some people, a friend of mine actually said the other day on Twitter, achievements are like crack, man. And I'm like, okay. Great.
Like, they'll ruin your life and they don't really mean anything in the end. And, so
it's like you're going on a date or applying for a job. Well, what? How many achievements have you unlocked on Saints Row the Fourth?
Jason, I will give you, if once Allison gets the Sparkle Fandango show, if she decides to do video for it, I'll give you a solid $5 if you pull up the Xbox app on your phone and walk up to a girl in a bar and go, "Yo, baby, check out my gamer score."
Yes.
And try to pick her up with your gamer score.
Yes.
Because you know what? 99% of the time that's going to fail, but when it works, shit, I should be doing this. Why am I telling you to do this? I'm the one who should be doing this.
I was about to say, yeah. Why don't you do this? I have reasons for it. This pays off, I have to say. Just kidding. This is Jeff's profile. Go fuck him.
Well, I do kind of want to see Allison clothesline a bitch at the bar.
It wouldn't take much. Let's not provoke that because it's going to happen eventually.
I want to buy her a bunch of rings for Christmas so that when it comes time, she can take them all off.
You know she wants to get tattoos on her knuckles, right?
Of what?
Hold fast.
Okay.
Which is like an old sailor tattoo.
Right.
And she wants to get rings to cover those for whenever she's like interviewing for a job or something.
So when she goes for a job, she'll look like the Mandarin? Is that what you're saying?
Basically. Yeah. And so it's just, it's my wife who has prison tats and you want to give her rings and provoke her into killing some poor girl.
Yeah, I kind of just want to push your wife more and more towards just the straight up life of a pirate. That's what I'm looking for.
I don't get hit on or anything like that anymore. It doesn't happen. I mean, I rarely did anyway, but and the rare occasion that some girl, if there's like a flare of overly friendliness, just a little spark or something there where someone is A, moderately attractive,
right,
and B, friendlier than just passingly friendly, I just want to go, run. Run, you fool! Fly, you fool! Yes. You're in danger now. She knows she's coming for you.
So anyway, I went to Best Buy. I got in line. The one weird thing that I noticed was there was a guy and you know what? And this is what I'm about to describe to you is completely antithetical to all that bullshit I was just talking. There was a guy in front of me that walked up, and I don't know what the triggers this, but the guy that was checking him out said, "Hey, I noticed you've got the day one Xbox One. We've got non-day one Xbox Ones, and if you want one, I'll knock $50 off of the price."
What?
Yeah, and he only offered it to this one guy. Like, there was the guy that was actually 2 guys in front of me, and then the next 2 guys, I don't remember hearing him make that pitch to him.
Yeah. Did he offer it to you?
No. No, I think that it might have been. It might have had something to do with the type of pre-order that the person did.
Huh.
Because when I pre-ordered it, it was like you're pre-ordering the day one edition. My credit card had already been charged for the entirety of the purchase. So, but I sat there wondering.
Like, I'll take $50 for your bullshit achievement.
I sat there wondering, like, because I activated that achievement on the Rage Select Xbox profile. Not mine, not my. I don't give a shit about my personal profile. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I would have taken it if he would have offered it. I don't know. I can't say. Anyway,
you dumbass.
The whole thing was really simple because by the time that I got up to the front counter to check out, it was past midnight. So guy ran my credit card for the game, handed me the box. I walked out in the parking lot because the place was so ordered. I didn't even have my Jeff paranoia when I was walking out of the parking lot. I was just like, yeah, I bought it. It's here.
That's when they get you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess the thing is that maybe that paranoia was due to the fact that the PS4s, there was like scarcity, right? Whereas the Xbox Ones, you can pre-order those for a while.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd be willing to bet that a lot of those people that were there at the store got them. So anyway, I brought it home, unboxed it. I got to say that as a direct comparison between the Xbox One and the PS4, PS4 kind of wins from opening up the goodies that you get with your console.
Yeah. Lots of little bonuses and perks.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we got the Kinect, comes with the Xbox One, but like the Xbox One is $500, the PS4 is $400. PS4 comes with a rechargeable controller with a built-in battery. The Xbox One comes with a controller with a slot on the back that you put 2 AA batteries in, like we're living in the fucking Stone Age. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I paid $100 more, and can't even give me a rechargeable. It's like, oh, you want the Play and Charge kit? I thought, well, no, I'm getting one with the system.
You paid $100 more so you can get that stupid device that you don't even want.
Yep. I can say that you get 14. This is a weird number. 14 days of Xbox Gold.
It's 2 weeks.
Okay. But why not a whole month? Like what?
Right.
What is that? And the thing is that Xbox, the Xbox 360, they're slowly trying to. They're getting into that like free games. Like I think this week you can download not stacking, Trenched. If you're an Xbox Gold member, you can download that like you can on PlayStation Plus.
Oh yeah.
But unlike on the PS4, there was nothing to download with your Gold account. I mean, I already had Gold on my account, so it didn't matter. But they didn't have anything launch-wise that you could just get. The only free thing that I found that you could download was the Killer Instinct starter package that has one stage and one dude, and everything is locked.
Hey, here's a castrated version of a revamp of a game that's almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yay.
Like I kind of would have expected more, even just like demos or something, But if you don't like if you bought a PlayStation 4 and you didn't buy any games and you brought it home, there's stuff you can do. You activate your 30 days, download that stuff off PlayStation Plus. You can even use the $10 to buy some stuff off the store. Here, they didn't give you any credit. They give you 14 days, and there's not really a whole lot that you get for that 14 days. So that, combined with the fact that the controller isn't rechargeable, combined with the fact that it was $100 more, it all kind of just made me feel a little like I didn't feel like I was getting as much value.
Right.
On the PS4 when I pulled out of the box.
Because you weren't.
Apparently. I'll tell you the one thing that really did impress me though was this, which is the control of the headset that plugs into the Xbox controller is an actual honest to God one ear. You got a little thing over the top of your headset as opposed to the little dangly I'm talking on my cell phone
like earbud type thing. Yeah.
But other than that, it was a bit lackluster as far as just pulling it out of the box goes. Also, the Kinect is heavy. Like this new Kinect is big.
It's kind of beastly.
It doesn't bow anymore. Oh, the other thing that was interesting to me was the fact that the Xbox is still using this dumbass separated power supply brick.
It's like the size of a Volkswagen.
And it's bigger than the Xbox 360 one.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I'm like, what the fuck, Xbox?
You can do curls with it.
Also,
See if you can bench it.
Just the console itself is like what?
It is
40% larger than the PS4. I mean, it's
bigger.
big. So the whole thing just kind of was like huge American design. So then I turned it on, and it's funny because I looked at the back of it, and it's got the whole HDMI in for your cable. I don't have cable, so
Oh, right.
I noticed that right now they don't have. I just got a login for HBO Go, and they have an HBO Go app on the 360, which is actually the best one. HBO Go is kind of a shitty service. I don't know if you know this. It buffers forever.
Oh,
and it's
yeah?
just not very good quality.
I'd like to have it, but I don't want to get, cable at all.
Yeah.
So-
who does?
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't. There is an HBO Go app. I did download and activate Netflix. The first day I had it, I didn't even bother turning the Kinect on at all. Actually, you know what? The first thing I want to maybe talk about is the controller,
Okay.
because it's a little bit heavier, and I like the triggers on it more. Like the pull, the left trigger, right trigger.
Yes.
Because they have kind of like a baffle in them, so it isn't as clacky when you pull it in. I showed you that
Yeah.
before. How
Yeah.
and when you let it go,
It's like a soft touch keyboard.
yeah. It feels a little bit softer, and it's not as loud, and I enjoy that.
See, I want it to go the other direction and feel more like a trigger on a gun.
Oh, like after a certain point, it actually like pulls, or what are you talking- oh god, that would be weird for racing games, though.
Okay, true.
The one thing that I don't like about that controller is the D-pad. I think a D-pad is really sorry.
It's really flimsy.
It's super shallow now.
Yeah, and it feels just cheap. you know?
Yeah.
I know that's a weird thing to complain about. When you pointed it out, I thought, okay, this is Jeff being crazy. Oh, wait, no, this is actually really
like,
crappy.
Did you played a little bit of Killer Instinct when you used it?
Yeah.
You could kind of feel that it was like
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't push in very far at all,
Right.
and so
Yeah, and I felt like I was going to break it.
yeah, and it also feels like it's made of not of the same plastic as the rest of it, but yeah, it just feels a little cheap.
Yeah.
The as far as the rest of it goes, the thumbsticks are pretty much the same. They've got a little bit of texture around the edges of them, which doesn't really seem to make any difference whatsoever.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty much a 360 controller. The one thing that is a little bit crazy to me is that in both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, start and select are gone.
I know.
That on the new one, it's
Why do you change that? Yeah.
menu. They don't even have names on the buttons on the
got
Xbox
these
One.
little symbols on it, like we're supposed to interpret their hieroglyphs.
Yeah, and it's weird because when I'm playing games and it says press and then it puts up the symbol for like the menu button.
Yeah, like what is that?
Like, what is that? Which button is that? I don't.
Yeah.
Whereas you start, even when it was start and back. Like we've had start and another button on our controller
Yeah.
since the fucking Nintendo, man.
Right.
So I don't know why they're feeling the need to take that shit off. I know in Sony's case they wanted to have that share button, but that's not necessary at all. Other than that, the controller, I mean, like I said, I'm a little bit miffed that it's not rechargeable. It's even got a fucking slot in it for a charger. I guess if you buy a thing to replace
Yeah.
the batteries in there, but
Add-ons. More money for them.
yeah,
Since they're not making much money off the console itself. I mean, neither of them are. Neither of the big two.
Yeah, all I know is that the Xbox just felt like I was paying more for less.
Yeah.
And that's probably just a perception of, if I had gotten the Xbox One first, I probably wouldn't even say that because I wouldn't have had any expectation. Like I said, after all the shit that we got on the PlayStation 4, I kind of wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted maybe one gimme, just all out of the gate.
At least preload it with demos or something,
Something. So from there, you boot it up and you got the UI, and the UI is weird because it's kind of it's a lot like the Xbox 360 UI
In a way.
in a way. Yeah, you can definitely see the Windows 8 influence in it. I like the way that they handle friends now. In fact, both consoles I noticed on the PlayStation 4. When you load up the PS4, the very first thing on that little sub menu is what's new. And in the past, what's new has been their place to essentially advertise shit to you.
Yeah.
Whereas now what's new is this giant wall that comes up of like, this friend of yours just finished this level, and this person has been playing this, and this guy just bought this game, and this person commented on this. It's actually a list of social stuff instead of just game
Oh,
ads
right.
coming
It's
at you.
it's like looking at a Facebook wall.
Right. And on the Xbox, there's a similar thing, but it takes a couple of menu jumps to get into. I showed you the Snap where you've got like
Yep. That's kind of neat.
yeah, Netflix DVR. You got a few different things you can snap. I once I got it working, it's a little clumsy. It's not really very super intuitive. Like when
Right.
you first open it up, because you're like, okay, well, then how do I get back to my game now that I've got Netflix running over
Yeah.
here? And I showed it to you and Allison was really impressed by it.
She was blown away.
I couldn't figure out why. And then it dawned on me that it's so that she can watch Netflix while you're playing a video game.
Yes, that's probably the case.
Because when I had it on, I was like, I'm playing Killer Instinct. I can't exactly watch Archer and play Killer Instinct at the same time. You need to concentrate on Sterling Mallory Archer or fucking Killer Instinct. Glacius, getting your fucking 61 hit ultra combo.
Jago.
That's right. So yeah, you can put a few things in there. I can honestly say that I don't see myself ever fucking using that for anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I might have like Twitter up on one side while I'm watching something on Netflix.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe.
Twitter. Wait,
Then again-
while you're watching something on Netflix.
Then again, I also have like 3 other devices within arm's reach
Right.
that have social media on them.
Once again, that's kind of where I find myself of the fact that this shit sits right next to my computer. But I don't know. The only thing that I can see that it seems to be really useful for is if you had like a party, like an Xbox party going, where you had a bunch of your friends in a party. It would be nice to maybe have them there and see what are they like. If you've got people that are jumping into other games and then coming back into your game or whatever. Yeah. So then I hooked up the Kinect. And
That's right, bitch. We're talking about you. I'm looking across the room at that cyclopean
okay,
horror.
let's get out of the way one of the good things first.
Okay. It did not take over everything in your house and try to kill you in your sleep or
No,
assimilate you.
didn't even do that.
Okay.
I felt ripped off. No, I mean, like in this room, you could see that my Kinect is like, what would you say, 4 feet from the couch?
That's about right, yeah.
It totally is able to see. Like, you don't need to have a 12-foot apartment anymore.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to back so far away from the Kinect. It doesn't bow. It actually has a thing where you say, I can never remember the words. I can never remember the
Select?
you have no power over me.
Oh.
What you say to the select, yeah.
Yeah,
And
Xbox
then
Select.
Everything on the screen that is Xbox that is connectable turns green.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what you can say and what you can't say.
Right.
It seems to turn off at weird times though, because it's like we'll go and start playing Dead Rising, and then suddenly it'll be turned off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, turn it back on again. I don't, and it just
It seems
doesn't-
very capricious.
Yeah, it doesn't. And to be honest, when it works, it's okay. But we're still running into this problem of
I have a controller.
it is so little effort for me to hit my thumb one time to the right and hit the A button as opposed to say connect and then Xbox do this. And then when we were, by the time this comes out, people have seen it. We were playing Rise. And I said something about Dead Rising 3. Yeah. And the Xbox was just like, oh, you want to launch Dead Rising 3? Let me stop your game and try to start up Dead Rising 3.
Oh, I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah. And it was like, whoa, Kinect. Whoa.
Yeah.
But then when we needed it, when we were saying fucking fire
Fire
arrows,
volley,
yeah.
yeah.
And it was like, okay, it was like, what?
It's like, well, or I could just push this button here.
Right. Left
yeah.
bumper or scream like 6 syllables at your TV.
Yeah,
which would you
repeatedly.
rather do?
Yeah. I don't know. It still seems like something that so far this is just initial impression, so I'm not going to write it off entirely just yet. But
Yeah.
it still seems much like last generation, a proof of concept more than a reason you would buy this device.
I think that I'm going to fall back on one of the things that I've said a lot of times before, which is that I think that by including it within this console and the fact that every single person who buys an Xbox One is going to have one, they're at least giving developers a reason to maybe raise the bar for what the Kinect can do a little bit, because they can at least say that these people have them. But they took away the mandatory having the Kinect attached, which at that point it's like, okay, well, why would any of us spend any cycles? Like, would you rather have another character in a bonus stage or Kinect integration? And
Right.
you go, I'd rather have that first one, actually. So far the interface is a little bit weird. mostly in that, like the other day I had it up and I was telling you about this, where you hit normally on the Xbox you hit the B button to go backwards, right? But here it's like in Windows, it's like the back button. So I was in a game and I hit the Xbox button. I went out to the home page and I was like, oh no, I want to go back. So I hit the back button and it went back to something I didn't want. And then I hit back again and it launched the Kinect tutorial, because that was the thing that I did. And then I hit back again and it went to sign me into Xbox Live, and I went back again, it went back to the store. Like, it's remembered all the places that I've been through, and it was shuffling back through there, and I was just like, no dude, I just want to go back to the main UI and do something. So that's a little weird. I do say that when we had the Kinect running, I don't know if you ever saw it, but if you say to the Kinect blah blah blah, and it doesn't understand you, a lot of times it'll change two of the things on screen to say item 1 and item 2, and you can just say item 1 to clarify.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it turns them orange, so it's really easy to pick up in the whole scape of stuff. They've made the. I haven't been real deep into it yet, but they've made your little profile pictures are much more involved. You've got a bunch more to choose from. They're bigger now than they used to be. I think they still have the avatars in there, but it didn't bring mine over, so go fuck yourself, Xbox. And
lame.
The store right now has LocoCycle, and it's kind of, the one thing I will say about the Xbox is that on the PlayStation, there was one game. There was Killzone.
Yeah.
And the rest of the stuff was split-gen or downloadable indie stuff. Here you've got Rise, you've got Dead Rising, and you've got Forza 3.
Right.
And you've got LocoCycle and Killer Instinct all at launch. That's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good lineup of stuff.
It's an okay lineup.
I mean, Dead Rising 3 is a good game to start with because it's got a lot of replay value and a lot of just like, I want to kill a bunch of zombies.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's easy to recommend. Rise, I haven't played enough to tell you, and Forza, we haven't even touched that yet. But
are we gonna play Forza?
Yeah, we're probably gonna play it at some point. I'll drive, and you can make fun of me the entire time. But the other thing though that I think kind of has struck me, and I don't know, because we need to get some of those. We need to go upgrade some of our Xbox games to see how they look on here.
Yeah,
because we've only played so far Rise and LocoCycle and Dead Rising, but so far these games look good. Not as good as the PS4.
Well,
but they're different. You're comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah,
here,
that's. I mean, like we were talking about yesterday, the games that we've seen, or a couple of the games that we've seen on the Xbox so far, Rise and Dead Rising 3, put more of an emphasis on more characters on screen. Whereas the games that we played, Killzone and Assassin's Creed 4, on the PS4, those were more about particle effects and making it pretty. So I'm suspecting that at this point in the life cycle of these new consoles, it's an either-or kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because they really wanted to impress you, so they went all out with one of those, but they couldn't do both. That's what I'm suspecting. I could be completely wrong.
So far, the impression that I get is that the Xbox seems to be a little bit grittier, but I can see myself, even though I really liked Killzone, I could see myself playing Dead Rising 3 way longer just because of what type of game it is. So yeah, what I really want, I mean, maybe we just go online and somebody else I'm sure has already done a side-by-side or whatever. But so far, like in Dead Rising and even in Rise, it's like you said, yeah, it seemed to be more concentrated on having many dudes on the screen, and there wasn't as much of that smoke and foliage and particle effects and fire effects.
I mean, it was still pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Still a great-looking game, just not as good-looking as, say, Assassin's Creed.
Right. And I don't know if Assassin's Creed looks that good on the Xbox.
Oh, right, yeah. That's a good point. We haven't tried that.
We haven't tried it.
That said, the first time you see thousands of zombies on the screen in Dead Rising 3, it is stunning.
Yep. Yeah, very much so. In fact, I got to say, we'll talk about more when we end up doing a review, but I got to say that if I was Dead Rising 3, I wouldn't have started in a really super dark room for the first,
that was such a weird choice.
Minutes. Yeah, I would have started out on that freeway with the plane crashing because that was impressive.
Yeah.
And the fact that you had to go through this difficult to see, very dark, very confined place, I don't know. I would have maybe...
It was an odd decision.
Put your best foot
start
forward
there, yeah.
But so far, I don't know. What I can say is that personally, I like the cleanliness of the PlayStation interface a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's very much just like games. Whereas like, and this is probably very much in tune with what the Xbox One's methodology is Xbox One seems to be very crapped up with, here's a whole bunch of video applications, here's a whole bunch of Twitters and Voodoos and Crackle, and
We want to take over your home.
right.
We want
right.
you to use it for everything. And PS4 is more like, yeah, here are games.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So I don't know. They both have decent enough interfaces. I kind of wish that. I don't know. It still feels like. I mean, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like, you remember when the Xbox 360 UI updated to be what it is now?
Yeah.
And it was because of the Kinect, because they wanted to have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
swiping between panels and using your hand and junk. It still feels a lot like that. It still feels a lot like that UI interface. Like it's got the big box
it does.
with your thing and then stuff on the edges. It's also a little bit more sluggish when you hit the Xbox button. It takes more of a second to go back out. Oh, wait a minute. God damn. We're going to take a break here, but before we go, I almost forgot.
Oh my gosh, it's exciting. What?
Giant middle finger, Microsoft. Because
Yes.
I got home and I got my console and I plugged it in, I turned it on, I did the update. The update was a little confusing, but whatever, it's an update. Did the update, and I was like, great, got my Xbox. Put in the disc for Dead Rising 3 and waited for like 35 minutes while it installed to the point before I could open the game and play it.
Yep.
Like, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that when I put the disc in the console that I want to play the motherfucking video game.
Yeah. Why can't it just be right off the disc?
Well, I mean, I guess at this point it's installing every game,
Yeah.
but it just seemed to take a long time, and I kept going, let me play.
Remember cartridge games? You put them in and you pressed play.
Yeah, there's that. It seems to me like they could. I don't know. Maybe the developers, the methodology with the development was that they designed them all to be downloaded. So
yeah.
this is essentially a virtual download of that disc onto the hard drive. It just doesn't. It didn't. Well, I guess there was. I'm trying to think if Killzone had an installation time. I don't know. I can tell you that when I downloaded LocoCycle, that LocoCycle was able to start playing when I got 22%, but it was a 13.2 gigabyte download, and it was okay.
Get used to it.
Yeah, I guess I'm so used to the
This
last
is the new normal.
10 years of instant gratification. But you know what? I guess other games have been installing. It's just, I guess that now every game
Yeah.
is going to install.
That's how it is, man.
So, all right. I'm
Wait
not gonna,
until you have to download something and it's download only and it's a huge game like a AAA release.
Yeah.
You can only download it and you don't yet have Google Fiber where you live. Yeah.
Well, that's what are you talking about? That's right now. That's right now.
It is right now.
You're not describing some dystopian future. That's where I live.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Xbox One so far. I mean, as we get a little bit more time with it, I'm sure on podcasts it'll come up later in the future. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to read some of you guys' emails. So stay tuned. We will be right back. And we're back. And it's time for questions. Are you ready, Jason?
Hit me.
Are you ready for the questions? Let's
do it.
I think we got some good questions this week. We've actually been getting. There was a time there where the questions had been lulling a bit, shall we say?
That's a nice way to put it.
Whereas we've been getting a lot of good ones to the point where I have to dump some ones that I'd like to talk about just to keep them, kind of in a. We can't do a show where we answer 40 questions every week, so
It's true.
But this first one is one that I don't know. I don't think we've had a chance to talk about yet. Hello, Jeff and Jason. I would like to know your thoughts on Telltale developing a Game of Thrones game from Fernando. Did you hear this one?
I heard, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm curious. I'm interested. I wonder, what characters it's going to use, because the thing is, when you've got an existing property like that, like with Walking Dead created different characters within the Walking Dead universe. I don't know how well that's going to work within Game of Thrones if that's the approach that they take. because I'm already invested in Game of Thrones. The world in Walking Dead is a big situation,
Right.
you know? In Game of Thrones, yeah, there's a situation, but it's more about what these specific people do, and that affects the world. What Rick does in Walking Dead doesn't necessarily affect the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that when I was thinking about it, I was actually thinking that I was kind of thinking in my head comparing it to Lord of the Rings and how we've had a lot of like Lord of the Rings spin-off stuff where stuff has happened elsewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
But the problem that I've always had with a lot of the Lord of the Rings games is that they don't feel as important as the main story. But in Game of Thrones, God, there's so much shit going on all over the place.
Yeah.
That, like you could, you know what I'd love? I'd love an entire game that was set in Brazos and the Eastern kingdoms or whatever, you know, where the Red Lady and the Sword Dude are from, because like all that crazy shit, like where Daenerys was in season 3 or whatever. Like I think that there's plenty of ways that you could make a narrative that is that edges up against the main narrative. Like if you find, I mean, I think that I haven't read the books, but I'd be willing to bet, I mean, from the way that the show is laid out, that there's probably stuff that is mentioned in passing in the books that you could probably spin off into your own thing.
Right.
Hell, man, they could even make a prequel. Like, you know what? I would love to play a Game of Thrones game that was all about the rise of the Mad King and all that stuff. Like, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I don't even care what's in it. As long as I get to kill Joffrey, I'll be happy. I'll pay full price.
Okay, what if you have to play the entire game as Joffrey?
Oh, God.
And it's like The Walking Dead, except that your choices are all just horrible. Yeah. Like, it actually turns out that the stuff that Joffrey does in the show is the best of the 4 horrible choices. It's like Tyrion has sent hookers to your room.
Yeah.
Do you want to
murder them?
Kill one of them, kill both of them, and everybody else in Westeros. ..
Make them kill each other.
Make them kill each other. As long as it's not, I tell you what, there's one part of Game of Thrones that I don't necessarily care for all that much, and that is goddamn Jon Snow. And I've talked about this before.
Oh,
Everybody says, Jon Snow. And like people have always said that in the later series and books and stuff that he becomes a much more interesting character. And even in the latest season, he's becoming a more interesting character. But like every time they cut over to Jon Snow and his fucking his it's like he's got like a constipated blue steel look on his face the entire time. And I'm just like, I fucking hate you, man. Like just be a man, you fucking asshole. Which I'm sure is going to garner me a lot of people in the comments saying, "No, Jon Snow's my favorite." You know what? Let's figure out. Okay, so if you could have the Game of Thrones game and you got to play as one character from the show, who do you want to play as?
Interesting.
I say Hodor.
Play.
Because the dialogue choices will be very simple.
Yes. I know what my options are. Just Hodor.
That's right. Just hit X to Hodor. They don't even have options. It's just one button.
One button. No, and sometimes it'll be like Hodor !
Right.
Hodor ?
Sure. And then sometimes it's just take your pants off. Run around with your hodong out.
Hodong.
But no, seriously, what I don't know.
Oh man, Arya.
Arya?
Yeah,
that's a good choice.
I think she's my favorite character.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Daenerys personally. But you know what? You know who I think would be a really interesting character to play would be for Game of Thrones. Mostly because, and I don't know if Telltale doesn't have it in them, but so far the action parts of Telltale games have been a little. So I think I would like to play somebody in like the court of Westeros.
Oh yeah, like Littlefinger or somebody.
Yeah, or the eunuch guy, Varys, I mean, or even one of the old maester dude or something like that. Because if it was just nothing but a bunch of kind of like wheeling and dealing and scheming and stuff like that, that would play really well into what Telltale does does very well, as opposed to if it was a bunch of sword fighting, Jon Snow, then you just have a bunch of QuickTime events that I don't know. I mean, maybe it'd be all right. I just wonder if they would try to branch out. If it would just be. I'm starting to think that if all Telltale is ever going to give us is going to be games that are dialogue based from here on out.
Yeah.
that after a while, I don't know if I want to just play that same game over and over and over again.
Sure.
Maybe,
I want what any Game of Thrones experience should have, and that's lots of boobs and disembowelments.
even if they're the cartoony, telltale, cell shaded boobs.
Yes. Yeah. Even that.
Okay. Just the hollow boobs. All right. Well, our next question comes in from President Evil. We've had a few questions from him in the past, or her. I don't know. President Evil says, "Hey there, Jeff and Jason. President Evil here. I've recently been looking for a game that I could play despite being extremely jaded and bored by the tropes and themes of regular video games. For some reason, I cannot muster up enough interest to stay focused on one thing for longer periods of time. It all just becomes meaningless streams of pixels that enter one brain hole and leave through another." He's got two.
God, this sounds like a Nine Inch Nails song.
2 holes in his brain. I would maybe get those looked at, dude. So I've been trying to find the really crazy, extreme, shocking stuff. The problem is, though, most of that isn't really widely known, so I have no idea what to look for. I'm basically digging through Steam right now, looking at every single game. I pondered purchasing the PC port of Dementium 2, which will be released on December 17th. I don't know the original, but some of the monster designs don't look that boring. I'm skeptical, though. What's your opinion on that game, and can you recommend some games for me? I don't have preferences in terms of genre, etc. Keep up the great work. One day you will rule the internets. Long live the beard. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know anything about Dementium 2.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm going to actually look it up here real fast.
But to recommend some stuff, you might want to try going old school. Mm-hmm. You want something non-traditional and maybe a little shocking. Something we've mentioned before. I think you can get it on some abandonware sites. It is I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Uh-huh.
That is one. It's kind of inscrutable and sure as hell is dark.
Dude, we need to play this game. Are you seeing these screenshots of Dementium 2? Look at that
interesting.
Monster.
Yeah.
Look at this thing right here.
Ew.
Look at this lady.
Gruesome. Oh, she's gross.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we might have to check that out.
Yeah.
But also, if you want something, I don't think it's very dark, but it's kind of known as almost a forgotten classic, but a mind forever voyaging. Mm-hmm. If you can find it. I don't know how you would. And I think it's mostly a text-based game. I don't know if you have a tolerance for something like that. But that's an interesting, like, kind of time travel-y AI type thing. So, you might want to see if you can track that one down. It's definitely off the beaten path, especially considering, a bunch of new consoles and everything coming out. So, check that out.
I'm trying to figure there's a God damn it. I when I looked at this up, is this it? I think this might be it. Is that? Yeah. Okay. I've never played this game before, but I've always wanted to. It's this Eastern developed game where you go into this weird town and there's like this weird plague and you're trying to figure out how to solve it. It's called Pathologic. It's made by this developer that
looks spooky.
Yeah, it's a really weird game. It's kind of low res, low rent, and it's a PC game, but it's like got some really bizarre kind of imagery. They actually made another game that was all about like being in the afterlife. Yeah, this is the game that I was thinking of. I've never played this, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. But as far as recommendations go, I go check out a lot of Suda51 stuff if you want just downright crazy. And in fact, it's not maybe a bad idea to look at, to maybe see if you can find some of the fringe Japanese stuff.
Yeah.
That was, because there was a time when they were making weird, just really weird fucking games.
There's one, oh God, what is it? Is it Crawl Space or something like that? That I saw that's coming up, and it's kind of like Bomberman, but it's creepy.
Yeah.
That's a completely worthless recommendation because I can't remember the title.
You can go look. You can go look through like the indie horror stuff, but I feel like a lot of that stuff is becoming more.
Yeah.
It's all becoming Slenderman essentially.
Yeah. Try some SCP Containment.
SCP Containment Breach. Well, actually, there's like 4 other SCP games that that are out there. There's an SCP 087 game, which is this hallway that you go down. I think it's like a 162 or something like that, which is this cabinet that's an infinite labyrinth full of monsters and stuff. There's one that's at SCP. Was it 286? It's a giant lizard thing.
Yeah.
Where your whole point of it is to get SCP-286 back into its containment room, even though it's an invincible, malevolent monster beast. I mean, I figure that if you're looking for something that's new and different, you can don't ever underestimate going to Steam and clicking on the indie button and looking through what's going on there, because there's some weird shit there. But
Be careful.
What was it, last week or the week before, where somebody recommended that Pigeon? No, I think it was on my live stream where there's like this. I don't know where the fuck this came from. It's a pigeon dating sim.
What?
That's like a Japanese dating sim, but it's pigeons. And they're going to this pigeon high school or something.
You like pigeons do.
There's this, you get these pictures that come up with this giant pigeon that has all these words underneath it talking to other pigeons and stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit out there. You just have to, you're not going to find much of it on. I would say go look for there's a couple of websites that I've run into that do nothing but catalog like indie games and independent development, stuff like that. That's probably where you're going to find this stuff. Also, it never hurts to go looking for, if you're looking for stuff that is a little disturbing, it never hurts to focus on Eastern European developers.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go
There's
check
something
out
weird going on there.
Stalker. I mean, the Stalker series.
Yeah. Stalker is actually based on like an art house film, like a weird art house film,
which is actually based on a book.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
So 1972.
Yeah.
I went and looked it up last week. The history of Stalker. So the original book and the movie are a little bit less zombies and a little bit more just like weird shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually saw that movie. It's a
I haven't seen it yet. I want to.
very slow, very Russian, very much.
Right up there with like Solaris.
Sort of. I mean, the premise of Stalker from there is that you've got the zones where crazy shit happens, and in the Stalker movie, it's a stalker and a professor and like a doctor that are trying to get through the zone to this room that will grant you wishes if you go into it.
Yay!
But it only grants the wish that's in your heart, not the one that you like say. So it's an inadvertent wish granted, and it's like 3.5 hours long or something. It's a really long movie about these. It's a bunch of Russian dudes wandering through the woods, discussing the meaning of life for like 3 hours until they get to this room.
Okay, you lost me. I was looking forward to seeing this, and now no.
Yeah, I don't know. We may have to look up this pathologic thing. I've checked it out. I've looked at it before, and it's got some weird. It looks just very strange. Some very weird shit going on.
Spooky looking.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully Resident Evil, that'll keep you going for a little while. Also, you know what I could say is that if you are to the point where when you play video games, they go in one brain hole and out the other, maybe over this Christmas holiday,
Read a book. Take a break.
Yeah, take a break and come back to it, and you'll probably get a little bit more enjoyment than trying to power through fatigue. So, all right. Next question is from Will, and this is something we may have talked about before, but I'm kind of curious to know if you have any new thoughts on this. Jeff and Jason, I want to talk about Batman versus Superman.
What?
Do you guys think this should happen? Are there any actors you would actually like to be Batman? Long live the rage, Will.
I'm fine with Ben Affleck as Batman.
Me too.
Yeah, fine. Whatever.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't offend me. I think he'll probably do a good job.
Yeah.
I think. I'm okay with his casting choice. I do think doing Batman versus Superman right now, it's not a good idea. I mean, the whole thing where it has the most impact, where Batman does fight Superman, like in Dark Knight Returns, is that they've got this relationship, this friendship that has been going on for decades.
Yeah.
And but then just trying to make them fight right out of the gates, everything just smacks of Warner Brothers' desperation to keep up with Marvel.
Well, okay. I've actually been thinking about this, and I have a counter argument for my own ire about this particular project.
Okay.
There was plenty of that going on in the Superman Batman movie, the animated one, but it was less. Okay, it wasn't. I mean, when you say Superman versus Batman, you get mental images. Of course, anybody who's a comic book fan gets mental images of The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Or like Freddy versus Jason or something. But if it was more like in that movie where they're fighting, but it's not necessarily that it's not a brawl.
Yeah.
Right? It's more like Batman sees Superman and doesn't trust him because he's new to this thing, but he figures out he can't hurt him by punching him in the face. But then he outsmarts him, so you have that the best Batman Superman stories, in my opinion, are when they have that relationship of like Superman is stronger, faster, and invincible.
Yeah.
But Batman is a little bit more clever, usually on the uptake. He's a detective. He's the world's greatest detective.
Yeah.
Whereas Superman is the fucking Man of Steel. They've got different slots that they go into. So I really hope that in this movie they don't feel the need to make it a drop down, drag out punch-a-thon. Because somebody was saying this, and it's something that I think that a lot of people tend to forget, is that in the original Dark Knight Returns, Batman was beating up Superman right up to the point where he faked his heart attack, where he was like, all right, I've pissed him off now. Like, it wasn't for the kryptonite arrow and all that stuff. Even at that point, you go, there was a point there where if Superman had gone into that fight and just torn open the suit and punched Batman's head off, it would have been the end of it. That part of that fight was based on Superman's reluctance to fucking murder Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I hope that they're a little bit, and of course, the fact that Zack Snyder doesn't really give me a lot of hope, but I hope that they're a little bit smarter with it in realizing that. I hope this doesn't have to be another movie where Batman beats everybody because he's Batman. Because I'm kind of sick of that at this point.
I'm okay with that.
You like that?
Yeah, I'm quite all right with
he pulls out the bat kryptonite spray from his belt and is like,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like it. I really like that movie, the animated movie, because it has the elegance of Joker goes to Lex and Batman follows Joker, and then he runs into Superman, and the two of them have to face down their biggest enemies individually.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to have the Joker in it. I think it's probably just going to be Lex Luthor.
Do you think you could make a movie? Do you think that would be too crowded as far as characters go?
I think they could do it.
Yeah.
I think they could do it. Yeah, I just I don't know if they would recast Joker just yet.
Yeah. Oh.
And
plus Batman.
Plus, we haven't seen Super Genius Batman in a movie yet.
This is there were hints of that at the end of Dark Knight with the phone thing.
Yeah.
And there were hints of it
with the bullet.
With the bullet. There were also hints of it. I feel like the Keaton Batman spent a little bit more time. Like, in the original Batman, it's Batman who figures out how the Joker's distributing the Smilex to the people and gives them the list of things to not mix together. I mean, that's more detective work than it is, punching Joker in the face.
Yeah. But you don't have you haven't seen a lot of that Grant Morrison smartest guy in the room thing.
Yeah.
Which I would be okay with seeing because that's my favorite incarnation of Batman.
Sure, absolutely. I also think that would be great. All right, so our bottom line here is tentatively we'll see. I have no expectations one way or the other. I'm not one to write it off right
I still
now.
haven't seen Man of Steel, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, not my cup of tea, but not for any. I mean, I don't. There's nothing wrong with that movie. It's just that I don't necessarily like it all that much.
Right.
All right. Our next question comes in from Jujitsu, and he says, "Hello, Ragecasters," or she. I don't know. Hello, Ragecasters. For me, I think that besides multiplayer options, replayability is the only thing that factors in when I buy a game for full price. I would gladly pay $60 for a game like Skyrim, Fallout, and BioShock because I know I'm getting my money's worth with a plethora of hours of gameplay. However, games like The Last of Us, according to reviews I've read, isn't very replayable despite the amazing story. Because of this, I'm waiting for it to go on sale on Boxing Day. I guess this guy's in jolly old England. Or buy it used. What do you guys think? How much does replayability factor into buying a game for full price?
That's I guess that's really up to the person in question.
Well, I think he's asking us.
Us specifically?
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah, I don't really need replayability in most games. I rarely go back and play games. I just want one good experience from them.
Okay.
And hopefully it's meaty enough and long enough to really make me feel like I got my money's worth.
What do you think is the minimum? What do you think is the minimum, or is there a minimum time that you feel
Yeah,
you deserve out of $60.
I don't know that there is one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those where you know it when you see it, when you experience it.
I kind of feel like if you're not giving me at least 8 to 10 hours, if you're doing the Call of Duty Battlefield 4-hour campaign thing, that either that campaign better be just like balls to the wall awesome,
Yeah.
or you better have some really good multiplayer to make up for that in the interim.
Sure. Yeah.
But for me, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I'm weird because if I like a story experience, I'll go back and play that game over and over again. Like I played the original BioShock through
Yeah.
a dozen times.
See, I really
Metal
like that
Gear.
experience, and I've only played through it once.
Yeah. Well, what do you? I mean, on the other side, how? And we'll have to pretend for the sake of this that we aren't busy, because a lot of times I don't
Sure.
have time to play anything because it's like this game and this game and this game and this game. There's a queue. But in something like Skyrim or Fallout, how much of that sort of game do you say you play before you're done? Do you try to? I mean, do you ever try to like 100% those games? Or?
Very, very rarely.
Yeah.
I sank a lot of time into Skyrim, more than I would most other games. Skyrim and Red Dead Redemption are the two that I just wanted to experience everything, and not even for completion's sake, just because I was eager for the next thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I never did get a chance to play the final expansion of Skyrim, to really play through it.
Oh yeah.
Dragonborn.
Yeah, I didn't actually complete any of them.
Yeah, I did all of them except for that.
Well, Hearthfire was just buy a house.
Oh yeah, okay, I didn't do that one either, but I would.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to.
Dude, you get an orphan army.
I know.
You can buy orphans.
Yes, it's my dream.
Owning orphans.
Yes,
So
or
okay.
minions.
Yeah. So I don't know. I rarely engage in competitive multiplayer. I'm much more of a cooperative kind of guy.
Sure.
Jason. I don't want to make people my bitch. I want to work together against the computer. But if the story is good enough, I'll definitely go back and play stuff through a second time or a third time. I mean, not like I said, difficult anymore. You know what will happen to me is that I'll buy something on Steam and I'll install it. And I'll start playing it, and then I'll forget that I'm supposed to be playing something else. Like
Yeah.
I bought that Dead Rising 2 off the record, and I started playing it, and then it was like 12 hours later, and I was just like, oh, God! Because I like video games, and, if it's got a good hook in it, I don't mind sinking some time into something. Well, we're really whipping through them today. All right, our next question is from, I'm going to say William. William says, just Dragon Blade 1387. He says, hey guys, Dragon Blade 1387 here. Jeff, after finding out about Persona 5, how excited are you about it? Keep on making me laugh until my sides hurt and keep being awesome. You don't know that?
I saw that it was a thing, that it was happening, and I knew it was going to come up. That's all.
Did you see? Did you see that they made like 4 announcements?
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
I saw like a bunch of chairs with chains on them, with
Yep.
like manacles on them.
Yep.
And I saw, okay, Persona 5.
So
moving on.
let's roll down the list here, because I want you to experience what I experienced. So you start this video, right? It's
Okay.
like this video that is showing all these different Persona things. It starts off, and it's like all this music, and here's this lady dancing, and here's the protagonist from Persona, and he's dancing his ass off. Here's some other lady who's dancing, and then they show
dancing.
like
Great.
they're putting out I believe it's I think it's a Vita game. It might be a PSP game. I could be mistaken. That's like Elite Beat Agents, where
Okay.
it's like tapping the screen, and hitting buttons in
Yeah.
time to the music. Because I don't know if you know this, Jason, but Persona music, huge. Like
as in popular?
in Japan, yeah. Like every year they have this Persona Live.
Okay.
Where they will bring out a full band and play a bunch of the songs from the Persona soundtrack.
So it's kind of like Mario or Zelda over here.
Right, except that like when they show the audience, it is huge. It's like a stadium event. Like
Wow.
Not like football stadium, but it's you have a big sea of people, and it would be like a big rock concert here. It's not like it would be like if Def Leppard came to town, essentially, or something.
Oh, Japan.
And like I watched one of them because I really like the music from Persona 4. I watched some of those songs, but they'll come out and they'll play like songs from Persona 3 and songs from this and songs from Persona 4, and they do different arrangements every year, and they bring in some different people from time to time. It's weird and awesome to look at the same time, just going like, I've never been into video game music enough to go like, oh, dude, it's Saturday night, we're going to go see that Persona, woo!
But would you be like that if that came here?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
That's disappointing because I was really looking forward to mocking you.
Well, the thing is that I am only familiar with the songs from Persona 4, and there's like 2 of them that I really like that I'll listen to over and over again. One is the battle music, because every time you go into battle, it plays, and it's this really catchy J-pop tune. And the other one is just this really cool song that's in there. So, making a dancing game, okay, I can kind of see that. Then they move on to there's an expansion coming to, you remember Persona 4 Arena?
Of course.
I think it's called like
I remember it quite well.
Suplex in something, or it's got a really fucking weird name.
Of course it does.
I'm just trying to remember what it's. Let me just look it up here, because it's pretty good. Announcements. All right.
So an expansion of Persona 4 Arena.
Yes. What else here? Oh, stop it. There we go. Catching up on all of Atlus's Persona announcement. Persona 4 Arena came out, and this is the Ultimax Ultra Suplex Hold.
What?
Yes. Which is apparently, according to this, Persona 4 Arena 2.
Oh, okay.
I think this is an expansion that's actually already out in Japanese arcades, but
Oh, all right.
I don't know. Persona 4 Arena was fine, but like I remember when I was watching Evo videos and I was watching the Evo tournaments with Persona 4 Arena, and I was just like, I don't even understand what you guys are doing here. Like, this is so far beyond when I played the game, and it's not as exciting as other fighting games, so and then Persona Q is coming to the 3DS, Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth. And this is like the announcement trailer for it was Persona 3 and Persona 4 characters that were they look like little super children style.
Yeah.
And they're in this dungeon, and it's going to be a portable game, and I don't know, and not a whole lot else about it. But
It's like chibi style. Is that what you call that?
sort of.
Okay.
Chibi's usually a little bit smaller and a little bit bigger heads, but I don't know. But it's like the part of the trailer showed the main protagonist from 4 and the main protagonist from 3, which seems to indicate there was, in Persona 4 Arena, there was this element where they were mixing Persona 3 and 4 together. And so I wonder, Persona 5, literally, the trailer had these chairs with the manacles.
Yeah.
That was it. And then it said Persona 5. And it had a bunch of cryptic writing and shit on it. It's interesting to know that it is coming to the PlayStation 3. Because I was actually thinking when they did the announcement, I was like, oh yeah, Persona 4 was a PS2 game.
Oh, wow.
And it came out at the end of life of PS2. So it's taken this entire cycle for them, because they made Catherine, and they made,
right.
Persona 4 Arena, and they made Persona, I think Persona 4 Arena was Arc System Works, but they also made Persona 4 Golden for the Vita. They had the Persona 3, and they've got the other Shin Megami Tensei. I don't think it's the same team, but so the question in Persona 5 is going to be, first of all, they're putting out for the PlayStation 3. Second, is this finally going to be the mixing of the Persona 3 and Persona 4 worlds to create a more unified world of Persona?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, I know. You dig it the most, baby. So yeah, needless to say, Dragon Blade, I'm very excited. Do they have a release date for it yet? I think it's next year. Won't launch until 2014 in Japan, which means it probably won't come out here until the new Star Wars movie in 2015 or whatever.
I am really looking forward to you playing that with Grant.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You're already excusing yourself
Yep.
from the Persona?
Yep.
Come on, Jason, it's a classic.
Okay.
a
Well, no, you know
classic.
what? I'll check out Persona. That's fine, but I don't have any interest in Persona Arena.
Was there another
2.
one? Persona 4 Golden, boo. A new Persona 4 game is coming to the Vita. Oh, right. Okay, that's a dancing. Persona 4, dancing all night. So, yeah, super excited. Next question comes in from Kurt. This one's for you, Jason.
Okay, Kurt.
Greeting, Rage Select. I have a non-video game question.
Yeah.
I've been getting deep into comics lately, things such as Chew and Saga, but both are released monthly, and I've been looking for some new things to get into. Does Jason have any recommendations? Does Jeff? P.S. Fuck Dan Slott. I don't know what that means.
Yes.
Why fuck Dan Slott?
He is the guy who's been writing Spider-Man since One More Day.
Oh, the one that put the Spider-Man or Doc Ock's brain in Spider-Man's body?
Yeah, he did that.
Yeah.
And he presided over.
Over One More Day?
Well, no. That was mostly Quesada's doing, but once One More Day was wrapped up, Dan Slott took the reins, and it's been. I haven't read it since. So, yep, he can go to hell. He can go straight to hell.
You comic book fans are so passionate about your hobby. I don't know.
Little bit.
None of that. We don't have any of that in video games. Nobody gives
never.
a shit about anything.
Never. Yeah, I feel like Chew and Saga. Those are both good ones. I know they only. They're monthly. I'm trying to think of something that is akin to those, but I can really only tell you what I like right now, and I'm really liking Hawkeye. Mm-hmm. That's a really good one. Daredevil.
Okay.
Most of those are kind of done in ones. They do have overarching stories, but they are very self-contained. If you want something that's very much not self-contained, of course, Walking Dead is still a pretty solid comic.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I'm still into it. It's
how long? That's just been going on for a long time, though, right?
120 something issues, I think.
How many
something
phone
like
books worth? Do they release?
They've got like
them in
those 8 hardcover collections.
Oh god damn!
Yeah,
and it's still good.
It's
drop off a little bit.
A little bit, I think, but it's still. I think it's still compelling. But yeah, Rick Remender just started Black Science, which I picked up as of this recording today. That's a good. Very odd, transdimensional.
Does it have anything to do with weird science?
No Kelly LeBrock, no Anthony Michael Hall, unfortunately.
Bitch.
No bras on the heads yet. It's only one issue, so give it a shot.
Okay.
Sex Criminals.
What?
That's a good one.
That's a good comic?
Yeah.
Is that a Marvel or DC
it's
or
I can't remember who's producing it, but it's Matt Fraction writing it, and Chip Zdarsky is drawing, and it is about hear me out.
Sex crimes.
Sort of. It's about this girl who realizes that whenever she has an orgasm, time stops for everyone but her.
For how long?
I'm not sure.
Until she has another one.
I'm not sure. No, not until she has another. It stops for a little while.
Okay.
And there is a time limit on it. But she meets this guy. She has sex with him. She has her orgasm, and then she realizes, oh my god, he does it too. And so these two get together,
fight crime.
Commit crimes.
Commit crimes.
Yeah.
Do it and then do crime.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's really clever. It feels like an indie book. It's cool. It's good. I like it. I'm also reading one called Buzzkill.
Okay.
Which I think is Dark Horse. I'm not sure. I'm always fuzzy on publishers. But Buzzkill is about this guy who was a superhero, but now he's trying to clean up. And he's going to AA because the source of his powers are drugs and alcohol.
So if he gets drunk, he gets superpowers.
Yes.
That's like you.
Or if he smokes a cigarette, he gets some mild superpowers.
Interesting.
So yeah, the drunker he gets, the more powerful he gets.
What if he does heroin?
And now he's trying. Yeah, he's a mess.
Oh yeah,
and he's ruined everything. But now that he's trying to come clean, all of his old enemies are like, now's the time to mess him up.
I see.
Yeah, it's cool. It's brutal. It's very adult.
Yeah,
I like it.
Cool. Well, I don't do comics anymore. So if you want to get into my history, go the Grant Morrison JLA. I know some people don't like Grant Morrison, but I liked his run on JLA. Transmetropolitan, as always. Preacher. Yep. I like The Boys. I know that you and I differ on that. You're not really a big fan of the darker side of either Ellis or Ennis, as near as I can tell.
Just
not when they're writing superhero books, right?
Right. Because their disdain for superheroes is very apparent.
Yeah, Planetary and Authority. Authority. The first Ellis's run on Authority, then dovetails into Planetary. Stormwatch, and then Authority. And then Grant Morrison did a run on Authority that I really like. Planetary Planetary is great, and I guess you can pick up all of Planetary now. You don't have to worry about it coming out one issue at a time.
Yeah.
Alan Moore Supreme, I really like. In fact, most of the stuff by... It used to be that I would just go to the comic book store and look for anything by Alan Moore, Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, or Grant Morrison.
Sure.
And just pick it up because all that stuff was going to be good. Like, I know that we were out last weekend and you were taunting Mr. Bow with Warren Ellis doing Moon Knight, but when somebody put that up there, I was like, I would read Warren Ellis's Moon Knight.
I'm actually curious.
I don't have anything. Transmetropolitan is my favorite comic book of all time. I've like other ones, but that is the one that I'll go back to over and over again. So, but yeah, I was more of a child of the early 2000s to mid 2000s stuff. Back when all that stuff was going on. I mean, I guess Jeff Loeb from time to time.
No. Those days are gone.
Bendis, some of that old... Bendis has actually written a bunch of really interesting stuff that I don't ever hear anybody talking about. Stuff like Torso or... was it Whiteout? Was that him?
No, that wasn't him.
Was that... Who was that then?
I can't remember who that
was. Greg Rucka?
I think it was Rucka,
okay.
Yeah.
There was a time where there was like Bendis and Rucka and a few people were out there just fucking jamming out comics. Also, what was the one that we were talking about last week? Sleeper.
Sleeper, right.
I haven't read all of Sleeper, but what I have read of Sleeper is a really good book. And if you go and you start with Warren Ellis's run, Alan Moore's
we're not talking
Wildcats run is kind of the prequel to that. And then there's a one-shot called, not Point Break, but something like that leads into Sleeper. All Sleeper that I read was really good. So, all right, next question is I got the space heater in here and it's either too hot or too cold, Jason. Can't make it work.
Been fiddling with it for the last hour.
I keep sweating. All right, this one's from Tony, and Tony says, "All hail Jeff and Jason." Whoa, thank you.
Hello.
Yes, we're gonna have to start learning how to do the presidential, the wave.
I think we need to start doing Hail Hydra.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, you have to do it with both hands, right?
That's true.
We can't hold a microphone and do Hail Hydra.
Yeah,
at the
it doesn't
same
work
time.
that way.
All right. Has being in the business of video game reviewing harmed your enjoyment of any particular games or games in general? I powered through Saints Row 4 over 2 days so I could review it for the websites I write for. Though I love the game, playing that hard over 2 days made me not want to play it again even a few weeks later. How do you look with a critical eye without destroying your enjoyment? Thanks for reading, Tony.
That is very difficult. I won't speak for Jeff, but I myself am rather jaded, unfortunately. I still do enjoy games, especially as of late. There's been some stuff that I've had a lot of fun with, but Allison, whenever I'm playing something with her, especially just for leisure, she's slow down.
Yeah,
she'll tell me, slow down. You're playing it like you're trying to finish it so you can review it, and yeah, it's burning through games. It's not. It's kind of sad because it's like, I have to review this, but I want to savor it.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten into that habit of just raging through stuff. But and also when you play so much, it's just everything kind of becomes rote, and all the same patterns start popping up, and it's just time to make the donuts. But it's not that case for all of them. Every now and then, you'll encounter something where it's like, wow, I want to play this, in my free time.
I think that that what you're saying actually ties in a lot to sometimes when people will get on us about being pessimistic about things that are simply average. Is that when you play so many games, just like you said, you start to see the regular average stuff. And so a game that doesn't do anything special, that is just a mediocre middle-of-the-road game, really starts to feel like a waste of your time because you're like, I've played so many of these games that this is just more of the same. It's just business as usual. For my own sake of playing games quickly, that's how I play video games. I want to play them all. So over the year, before I even started doing this, I had a 2-disc GameFly account, and there was always one on the way back, and then one that I was trying to get done, so that when the weekend came, I could play the next one, so I could send that one back and get the next one on the list. I mean, I look over most years of video gaming, yeah, and outside of a few times where like I didn't have a N64, or I couldn't afford to have the original Xbox and a PlayStation 2, so I got a PlayStation 2, and I just had that the entire time. But for the most part, if there's a high spot on video games, I want to play it, and I want to beat it, because I came from the old days where, like, when you were at the playground when I was in elementary school, you didn't get shit for playing a game. You got cred for winning that game.
Yeah.
So playing a game for 4 hours don't mean shit to me. 4 hours is nothing. Winning a game, the only thing that has maybe been messed up by that is the fact that I can't play MMOs anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And even longer RPGs, I have to set aside a big chunk of time. And I do with RPGs, which you're not supposed to do with RPGs, which is play them in 16-hour stints, that becomes a grind. An 8-hour game is like Tuesday. That's whatever. Just fucking, sit down after dinner at 6 o'clock, play until 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're done. Boom. Easy peasy. But when it comes to a 40-hour RPG, there is no way to marathon that in one sitting, so I'll usually end up marathoning it in like 2 or 3 sittings, which you are not supposed to do with those games. You're supposed to play them for like 3 months at a time, not 4 days, So Persona 4, that was like, you ever eat salad and...
Yes, I'm familiar. I've had it before.
Eating a big salad, and you're eating like just a lot of salad.
Yes.
And your throat starts involuntarily closing up, and you're just like, because your body's like, stop with the salad. And you're like, no, open up. I'm putting more salad in here. That was kind of what it was like towards the end of playing Persona 4. Was I was just like, because it also had the fucking Peter Jackson ending where it ended like 4 times, and I was just like, oh my god, it's been 60 hours. Please just fucking end already. So yeah, I don't know, but at the end of the day, if I didn't like video games, I wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
There are plenty of jobs that you can do where you don't like that pay better than what we're doing right now.
What?
Yeah,
there are.
You left one, motherfucker. Don't pretend like you don't know. All right, and we got one more question. I think I'm going to skip this one for next week. And this is a question we've answered before, but this guy brings up some individual points, and I was thinking about it. I don't think that I've actually ever said this, but I also want to get your opinion on it. All right. This is from Brian. Brian says, I've never been very clear on your stance against pre-ordering. Is it against pre-ordering all games or just GameStop pre-orders? If it's just against GameStop pre-orders, skip this email. 1. I've never heard your opinion on Amazon's pre-order DLC content. Do you think it is just as bad as GameStop's pre-order DLC? 2. What's wrong with pre-order DLC? I just see it as an added bonus. I'd never pay for any of it as DLC anyways. Anyone worried about making a bad purchase can skip it and just wait for the reviews. It's called patience and self-control. I do that 90% of the time with games. Only stupid people get ripped off on pre-orders. And 3. I and many other people pre-order games, collectibles, movies, etc. from various places because it is convenient just to show your receipt or get it in the mail day one regardless of whether or not it has a bonus. What's wrong with that? I think all your hate in regards to pre-orders should be directed at gamers buying it rather than developers and retailers, except GameStop because of how pushy they are. I got a rant all prepared.
Okay, well, let me get mine out of the way.
Okay.
I don't really have a problem with pre-orders. It's a little annoying not being able to get everything that the developers put in there.
Yeah.
Because you just can't at first.
Mm-hmm.
You can't order one. You can't order and get all of it because some of it's Amazon, some of it's GameStop, some of it's going to be Best Buy.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It feels a little unfair, and plus. A lot of it is clearly stuff that should have been in the full game.
Mm-hmm.
That very well should have been in the full game, but wasn't. They put it aside so they could gouge you for a little bit more. Mm-hmm. That's annoying, and that's usually not that much of a problem, but every now and then you'll come across it, and it's really obnoxious. But, yeah, my big problem was with GameStop and how pushy they are and how full of shit they are about it.
Yep.
So go ahead.
All right.
Brackets, rant.
Here's the thing. Why do they get your money? Why do you have to buy this in advance? Like, the whole concept of pre-ordering something is to secure a copy of something that is a limited number that may run out.
Yes.
So you are putting down money as a promise to get something ahead of time. That concept has been fucking bastardized for GameStop and Amazon and Best Buy and all this pre-order DLC bullshit. Because you know what? There is no shortage of Call of Duty Ghosts. Okay? You can buy it on your computer. You can buy it on the console. You can go into Best Buy the day it's released and pick it up.
Yeah.
No problem whatsoever. So here's the thing. There is no reason why they should get to hold on to your money. That's your money. You should get to use your money. And you're not buying anything. You're essentially, they're giving you garbage. But it's, to me, I feel like the thing that's most offensive to me is this second thing that he says. I never pay for any deal. Anyway, anyone worried about making a bad purchase can skip it and just wait for reviews. It's called patient. Well, there was an implication here that you can just move your pre-order money over to a different pre-order if, like, the thing that you pre-ordered turns out to be shitty or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's no reason why any store should get your money before you have the product in your hand, unless it is, like we said, like I said before, a thing that is of like okay, if you could put down $10 and pre-order the next Mondo T-shirt, something that sells out real fast and
Right.
comes in limited quantity and is of a high
Yes.
value, that makes sense. But the fucking or even in video games, PS4s are of a limited quantity, so you put down money to guarantee that you can get one on the day that it comes out. That makes a lot of sense. But when it comes to fucking video games, like, we don't even live in a time and an age where you can't find a copy. GTA 5. Like,
Yeah.
okay, when Vice City came out, I didn't pre-order it, and I had a hard time finding it. I ended up going to a Blockbuster Music because I knew it was a place that nobody would go for a video game, and they had it there, and I bought it because Best Buy sold out and GameStop sold out and everywhere else was sold out. But now with this industry, there were 2 games this year that made $1 billion in the first 24 hours. If that's the case, you shouldn't have to secure
Yeah.
the game.
And
you know?
so many of them, okay, GameStop puts it, they phrase it as there's a scarcity, that they're not going to be able to meet demand.
Well,
bullshit.
Well, you know what? That whole thing to me is fucking anti-American, because what they want you to do is they don't want to have to be concerned with stocking product.
Exactly.
They want to sell exactly as much product.
It's you trying to cheat your inventory management.
Exactly.
Or
And
lack of.
And the thing is that is not the consumer's responsibility.
Exactly. And oh God, when they try to, again, I know we're not supposed to bitch about GameStop, but that wasn't the question. But whenever GameStop tries to tell you that you should have pre-ordered it, like it's my fault,
Right.
that you can't meet demand,
Right.
Fuck you.
They're a fucking video game store.
Yeah.
It's a video game
Right.
store. Like, what other product in all of America are you required to buy before you get it? Before it's even fucking out? And I got to tell you that as far as pre-order bonuses go, okay, some people like pre-order bonuses and that's fine, but I've been looking at them recently, and the thing is that game developers can't exactly make pre-order bonuses something that will be missed, something of import. It's got to be some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, here's the Batman skin that's
window dressing, right?
Adam West, or here's a couple of maps for Call of Duty, or here's a special tank skin or whatever. It's garbage, and you don't need it, and it doesn't have anything to do with the game. And to be honest, if it does have anything to do with the game, don't pre-order it anyway, because that's a shitty business practice.
Yeah. Be careful. Don't put that out there into the matrix, Jeff, because you're going to say something like that, and then GameStop's going to contact Activision and say, hey, for the next Call of Duty, can you make it where they can't finish the game unless they buy it through us?
Look, man, this is the problem that
they've thought of it already.
This is the problem that I have with pre-order DLC, Project $10, post-game DLC, and all this stuff, is that it only takes... There was news stories before about some of the folks at I want to say it was like either Activision or EA, talking about like giving you that day one pass in with your game that was like the last level of the game. So if you bought it used, you had to go buy the last level of the game for an additional $10 to be able to finish it.
Monsters.
This is the mindset of these people. And so, okay, back to pre-orders. As far as I'm concerned, you have no business giving these people your money, because it's your money. And that's where it really comes down to. This is my dad talking through me right now. It's your fucking money. if 1 million people pre-order Call of Duty and they give Activision that money, that's not money that they deserve to have until that product is on the fucking shelf.
Yes.
Like, that's more of like a Kickstarter thing than anything else. And when you donate to Kickstarter, you get the motherfucking game when it comes out. You usually get it early. So there's no reason to give these people your money ahead of time. And what's weird is that I feel like it's become so commonplace with places like GameStop and Best Buy and advertising and stuff like that, that there are a generation of people out there who don't realize how fucked up it is.
Right.
You don't pre-order a movie at the movie theater. Okay, some people have written in and said you can pre-buy a seat for a show that might be sold out. That makes a certain amount of sense.
Yeah, sure. Because there's a finite amount.
Sure, not much. But these days, when it comes to Assassin's Creed, BioShock, The Last of Us, Grand Theft Auto,
yeah,
chances are that if you go to GameStop, I mean, you know the reason that GameStop doesn't do that bullshit anymore is because if they do, you drive across the street to Best Buy or, 1 mile down the road to wherever the next thing is.
Yeah.
Target, Walmart, Fry's, anywhere will sell you one of those video games, and chances are you can find it. Not to mention the fact that you can, if you do want to pre-order it, if you do have to pre-order a game, fucking pre-order it through Amazon. You probably get a discount. You'll get free overnight shipping anyway. Yeah. You get it the same day it comes out without ever having to leave your house. So to me, it's just the idea of giving them your money before you have a product, because there is no reason for that. They're asking you to pre-buy something, and the worst part about it is that there's actually been things that have there's reports that have come out that have said that, like, there is a chunk of pre-orders that people don't pick up, and they just pocket that fucking money. That's why they do this, is because if you forget to go pick it up, that's $5 that they get for doing nothing. Is they pitched you on pre-ordering The Last of Us, and you said yeah, and then when it came out, you forgot about it because you pre-ordered a year and a half ago, and you forgot where you kept your receipt or whatever. You just went out and got it or whatever, and they just keep that money. And they did nothing for your money. They didn't do anything to get your money.
But badger you.
Yeah, except badger you. So I don't like to support that whole enterprise, because video games are not something special that deserve to get your money before they give you the disc in your hand. So that's where I come down on it. And that is our last question for the week. So, folks, if you want to send your questions in, you can send them to mail@rageselect.com. It's mail@rageselect.com. There's a link below with the email address. So sending your questions, they don't necessarily have to be video game related, as we have demonstrated on this very show. And we will see you in a week's time. Once again, remember, take it easy. Don't go crazy for $20 off of a TV when your life might be in danger.
Yeah. Maintain your dignity as a higher thinking member of the human species. Don't devolve where it seems necessary that you climb up in the trees with your ancestors and fling your shit at other rival tribes. Don't do that.
I just want to
stay home.
Keep poking this anti-Black Friday stick. The anti-Black Friday ranting you more and more. They're great. All right, folks, we will see you next week.